on this momentous day. Well, we have one more guest now joining us on this momentous day. Raamdeo Agrawal is with us from Motilal Oswal. Raamdeo, good afternoon. Always good to have you on the show. I remember when I came to Motilal Oswal headquarters 2 weeks back. You said that look, this market has a lot of room to go, even though in the near term it does appear a bit stretched. But 10,000 is here. What next? Can this market still give you a decent compounded annual growth rate from here over the next 10-year period?
Yeah. So in fact, little longer chances of better return is much higher, in the sense that you have a shorter term challenge, but longer term I'm far more assured that things will be much better, because what has happened is economy is still waiting to take off in terms of corporate earnings, and Nifty earnings at about 400 is still on, and index at about 24 times is at 10,000. Now how do we go? I mean, at the current level of P multiples, how do we go from 400 to 800 or 600 EPS in next 3, 4, 5 years? So unless that earnings growth come, I don't see the higher level sustaining. I mean, with the push of money you can take it to any level, but how do you sustain it higher level without earnings growth? That will be a challenge, and I'm sure at some point of time this will materialize. Whether it is 6 months away or 1 year away, God only knows. I think one of the biggest reform is we are going through that reform, and maybe 6 months time the whole thing will recover and we'll see a new phase of corporate growth and corporate earnings growth, and that could take the market to different levels altogether. So 1 year could be a little constraining in terms of return, but on a 3 to 5 year basis, I'm quite sure we have a damn good chance of seeing a decent return.
Okay, Raamdeo, of course, still on with us. Mr. Tulsian, let me just come to you about some of the big earnings that we'll get this evening and what your expectations would be. I mean, Axis Bank is going to be one of the, the big numbers from the banking side after HDFC Bank. What is your sense? Do you think much of the pain in that watch list and that GNPA number, is that behind us? Therefore, what would your outlook be?
See, again, I'm expecting, maybe today you are right that big numbers are lined up, but 3 numbers will be, on my watch list. One is Bharti Airtel, second is Vedanta, and third is GET&D, which is again a small player. I'm expecting all 3 to post good numbers. Maybe Bharti Airtel people are a little apprehensive, but I'm not expecting the company to show poor numbers. But coming specifically on Axis Bank, you have not seen honestly any signs of revival. In fact, maybe this SR Rosneft deal, if you would have gone through, then probably that would have given a big relief to Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. So I'm not very comfortable. It will be difficult to take a comforting call on Axis Bank ahead of the numbers which will be out after the market hours. But on the other PSU banks, we have been keeping a positive stance, and which we have given our view also that before start of this July series that all can give a return of 10% across the board, and exactly the same it has panned out in the same way, having all of them have risen by about 12 to 15%, and we continue to have the positive bias on that. But Axis Bank, we are keeping a bit cautious view on the stock ahead of numbers.
Okay, Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot as always for taking time out and talking to us about all those stocks and of course the historic day on the market. Tell you something, we will take a break. Once we come back, we'll resume our conversation with Raamdeo Agrawal as well and talk about a lot of sectors and stocks as the Nifty crosses the 10,000 mark. Okay, we got that line back with Raamdeo Agrawal. The Bank Nifty, by the way, is surging. 24,550 is what we have on the Bank Nifty. Raamdeo, we've discussed this in the past that sometimes you don't need to discover new ideas. Something like an HDFC Bank, of course, this is not a stock-specific comment, but something like an HDFC Bank has done this compounded annual growth rate over the last many years and may continue to do that. But from your point of view, going forward, as a portfolio investor, where do you see leadership for this market? Once again with some of these stronger stocks, or do you think we can now back some of the backbenchers of the last 3 or 4 years?
I mean, right now, I don't see any change in the major trends. I mean, it is continuation of whatever was happening, whatever was good for last 2-3 years. Except one thing I see is that the financialization of savings, in the sense that formalization of savings, and for last almost a year, and more particularly after the demonetization, the surge in the cash flow for equities, I mean domestic flow, has been distinctly very, very strong. And what it leads to and where it will go and how big it will become, that only time will tell. But this is clearly a new trend, and so this will open up a completely new industry and possibility of large asset management companies, which is in any case a wonderful business. And I believe the larger AMCs are going public, and that will be a new segment of an opportunity in terms of investing. But apart from that, I don't see any other industry whose fortune is changing one way or other. I mean, everything, whatever was doing well is doing well, and in fact the companies which were winning, they are winning big now. And under GST, I think the companies which have been winning, they'll win more. That's what it looks to be the case right now.
So speaking of financialization, Raamdeo, these days we get almost daily announcements by some or the other corporate entity wanting to set up an NBFC. I mean, we broke a story about the Poonawallas earlier, then some more company names have come through. Does that worry you? And then from a market standpoint, what do NBFC earnings tell you so far? M&M Financial, Stray, a couple of housing finance companies. Can an investor still make a fresh investment in NBFC stocks?
Yeah, it depends on what one is buying. Clearly, the NBFCs, the PSU banks' current state of things has left a lot of space for NBFCs, because NBFCs are the guys who start working beyond the branches. I mean, banks go up to the branches, and beyond that, to the customer, it is done by all sorts of NBFCs, whether it is in truck financing, whether it is motorcycle financing, whether it is a housing financing, all sorts of MFI and secured, unsecured consumer loans and all. They're all done by NBFCs. So there is a scope for, in this 7, 8%, 9% growing economy, there is a lot of scope for this specialized NBFCs. Now, whether an NBFC is good or bad, that is a function of but there is a scope for a lot of NBFCs, and I think the current NBFCs crop will keep growing, and the new ones will also keep coming. So there is still an opportunity, but I think at some level it might become a very what I would say some kind of euphoria or bubble in that particular thing, which is not there right now. But the trend looks to be heading towards that.
Okay, that's an important clarification that you made, Raamdeo, that maybe it is heading towards exuberance and bubble, but it's not quite there yet. So, that's interesting. Raamdeo, you are a CA as well. Tell us, can GST lead to a big uptick in the, in going forward in GDP growth, in terms of overall earnings growth, more unorganized sector turning towards organized, more reported in the system technically, and in that sense, a kind of re-rating which the market might already be doing, but we can't see right now.
Yeah, so we are still talking to the companies in terms of what are their initial, I mean, we get to hear both kinds of things. I mean, some auto guys, they are saying that there is a kind of slump in the sale even in the current month, but some people are saying that things are normal now. So it's all mixed right now. How much is the compliance? How much is the pain point? I mean, when the dematting happened in the stock market, we had problem to start with, but of course there was no going back, and we see in the, I mean, there was a pain for 6 months to a year. I mean, brokers cleared the sales and purchase and the stocks in their own account, and there was a lot of reconciliation issue going forward. So there was a pain for 6 months to a year, and this is far more widespread and much bigger in entire coverage. So I'm quite sure this successful implementation of GST will take some time, maybe 6 months kind of thing. and then the whole thing, I mean, the positive aspect of GST will be visible in terms of better tax collection and better compliance and everything like that. So I think the potential for the GST to work wonders with Indian economy is very high. But since it is, I mean, it's a huge experiment with the multiple rates, with digital technology, we have to wait for some more time.
So, Raamdeo, last question to you. Let's talk about the journey from 10,000 to 15,000 on the Nifty. Where will one make more money? Simply buying stocks and sectors that have done well, like financials and autos, or telecom and pharma and IT, which have been the laggards?
Okay, I think we lost that line with Raamdeo, but Raamdeo, if you're here... Oh, okay, so Raamdeo, thanks a lot for joining us. We had a bit of a patchy line, but by the way, 3:10 on the clock, and the Bank Nifty is higher. The Nifty, of course, has not been able to go back to the 10,000 mark, but it's not falling too much either. Ashwani and Mitesh back with us for BTST calls. Ashwani, before that, the Bank Nifty clearly is the stronger of the two indices, but whether you would want to keep any positions open ahead of Axis Bank's numbers and your BTST calls.
See, Axis Bank has come out with so many poor numbers that just by law of averages, this number could be good. Plus, the action clearly shows that people are going long into Axis Bank numbers. So maybe tomorrow you could have, Axis's day. So I would think Bank Nifty, people who do carry positions should carry them home. But overall, the market kind of has just corrected from the highs. It hasn't really given back a lot in terms of yesterday's gains or the last few days worth of gains. So that way, this sort of closing around these levels is positive. As far as individual stocks are concerned, Century Ply is a buy with a stop of 285, target of 310. Shriram Transport is a buy with a stop of 985, target of 1040. And Vedanta is a buy with a stop of 265, target of 282.
Okay, a couple of buy ideas there. By the way, Kansai Nerolac got a little excited after Asian Paints numbers, and that stock still holding on the gains of a little over 1%. Most of those gains coming in after we saw numbers from Asian Paints this afternoon. Anyway, Mitesh, let's come to your ideas, whether it's STBT or BTST.
No, I'll maintain positive bias for the time being. In fact, India Bulls Housing was a call early in the day as well, but as a BTST call, very comfortable taking this position home or if you want to take a fresh position purely for a BTST kind of a trade, it's ending the day near the day's high. So I would buy this one with a stop below 1184 for targets of 1220. And the other one is Max Financial Services. I think it's giving a reversal after some kind of a correction, and I would buy that with a stop below 604, 605 levels and look for a 626 kind of a target for tomorrow.
Okay, all right, those are the ideas for the last half hour going into tomorrow. Still no sign of movement, at least not on the Nifty per se, Anuj, but mid-cap's relatively better, though I don't know. I mean, what do you think of the quality of stocks again that have moved higher? In fact, the last couple of days, we saw the JP rally yesterday. Today, as you were saying, Punj, a couple of these indebted companies, they continue to be in the play today. Even something like an IVRCL, I mean, I know it's a single-digit stock.
Yeah, and you know what, the market bet worries me a bit. So it'll be, more than, these penny stocks rallying, that will happen in every bull market. But, the fact that the market bet just refuses to pick up and the kind of stocks that are rallying, I think will give you a bit of a worry. But, as long as the Bank Nifty and NBFCs are doing well, which is the market leader, sector, autos are doing well, I think the market is fine. That's the sense you get. Because if the market had to top out, some of these market leadership stocks would have fallen first. But the fact that that's not happening is telling me that the market is still fine. It's just maybe digesting some gains. Also, it's expiry week. Let's not forget that. So that's why, we could be seeing some bit of movement. Okay, Nigel, I believe Vedanta's numbers are out.
That's right, Anu. Just having a look at those numbers. Remember, we'll have to look at it on a year-on-year basis. The numbers are expected to be strong, and yes, all the prima facie numbers are looking good. That's a good jump in terms of the top line. The profit number as well is looking quite good. The operating profit number and the net profit as well has spiked up. Now, what we look at in terms of Vedanta is we need to look at the segment performance. And that will give us a sense about how exactly those numbers are looking. So the iron ore business, in fact, is appearing like a bit of a disappointment on a sequential as well as a year-on-year basis. In fact, we have a negative number coming in from the iron ore business, so just keep that in mind. But then it appears that in fact the aluminium business, that's the most important part. So on a year-on-year basis, that number is looking quite good. I'm talking about the EBIT in the aluminium business. That's coming at around 199 crores. That compares with the loss. Though on a sequential basis, that in fact has come down to close to around a third of what it was. So that is an important factor, that the aluminium business, that's a big number really we look at in terms of these numbers. And there was a shutdown both in the aluminium smelter as well as there was a shutdown at their copper refinery, and that in fact is shown in their numbers, because the copper business as well, the EBIT has come in only at around 160 crores versus 370 crores on a sequential basis as well as on a year-on-year basis. So segmental performance of a couple of these segments are looking quite weak. What is done well really is the zinc international business. That's come in with an EBIT number of around 280 crores, which compares with only 100 crores on a sequential basis, and on a year-on-year basis, in fact, it compares with around 208 crores. So just want to tell our retail audience out there